Hello, I'm Chris with a K. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite franchise of all time, Saw. We're going to rank all 10 Saw films, 10 of them. I'm so excited. I watched the first Saw back in 2006 and have been a huge fan ever since. And side note to anybody who knew me back then, I'm sorry. Now, I've seen disclaimers on other ranking lists before that are saying, oh, this is not meant to invalidate how you feel. If you have a different opinion, that's okay. But I want you to know that this ranking list is a personal attack on you specifically. Now let's get started. Coming in at last place, number 10, Jigsaw 2017. Bastard stepchild of the franchise, Jigsaw is the first attempt at a reboot/revival, bringing in a new creative team which results in one of the most beautiful Saw films of the franchise. Most Saw films have an overarching game that takes place throughout the film and they put it in a different kind of building. And that building then plays into the execution of the traps, like the meatpacking plant in Saw 3, or perhaps the, God, what's a good one? 4 is across town, 2 is in the house, 6. Oh my God, the abandoned zoo. Or the abandoned zoo in Saw 6. For Jigsaw, what you get is you have a game inside of a barn. And they do some cute stuff with the barn, but really not enough to kind of make it exceptional. The film isn't without its entertainment value, of course. I want to say her name's Linda Vandervoort? I liked her. She was good. All of the goth girls, love them. And those bucket head hats, so cute. I want one. However, the film does lose me in its third act. The final twist is exceptionally convoluted. It just goes, it just doesn't work. And it tries to add a retcon into the original canon that simply won't stand. And for that, I put it dead last. Coming in at number 9, Saw 3D. Kevin Greutert returns to direct the sequel to his directorial debut under contractual obligation to close out the series and give us this atrocious closing chapter in the franchise. Longtime cinematographer David Armstrong does not return for the final entry of the franchise, and it really shows. The film ends up looking more of a B movie rather than the cap to one of the highest grossing horror movie franchises of all time. I mean, let's talk about this. Pink Blood, what are we in? Suspiria? Actually, Suspiria is really good though, I just watched it. Again, not for the first time. The film absolutely demolishes Jill Tuck's credibility as a certified baddie and turns her character into a helpless damsel who turns to the aid of buffoons for help. How could they do this to Betsy Russell? How could they do this to me? They did get Chester Bennington for this though. Oh my. Crawl. Why can't I do it? Crawl. Fuck. Crawling in my skin. That's as close as I'm gonna get. Though Saw 3D is objectively the worst of the franchise, this is a subjective list. And Saw 3D has a special place in my heart for being absolute fucking trash, but most veteran horror franchises have a absolute dumpster fire entry. Saw 3D has the distinction of being this franchise's Freddy's Dead. For all its flaws, I look past them and I still love it, much like you would an ugly child. Number 8, Saw 5. Arguably the most mid of the franchise, under production designer turned director David Hackle, Saw 5 is treated as a methodical, slow burn, switching back and forth between the game and a cat and mouse police procedural. The scenes take their time and try to build suspense between the characters. Really, the film is just a series of flashbacks that serves as more of a bridge movie connecting Saw 4 to Saw 6, rather than being its own complete, satisfying story. But you know, it's really about the journey and watching Scott Patterson just ham it up as much as he possibly can with no material to go off of. And bless them for giving us that 8-minute scene of Tobin Bell performing for the gods. Yes, honey. It's really fun to just revisit some of these past traps and past moments, but like in a different perspective or with another character that you didn't know was previously involved. The tunnel basement in which the Fatal Five are taking place with their game is actually kind of iconic. If you've been to the Saw escape room in Las Vegas, one of the rooms is that tunnel room from Saw 5. And I gotta tell you, I was really excited when I got to crawl in those tunnels. And, I felt like I was Julie Benz, just going, it was so good. Number 7, Saw 4, or Saw 3.5 as some would call it. Saw 4 is a continuation of the first 15 minutes of Saw 3, starring total beefcake Lyric Bent going on a twisted scavenger hunt across town to find his missing friend, all while coming across some actually creative traps. The film does a successful job at dovetailing the game plot and the police procedural all in one quite satisfying twist. But aside from the game plot, what I distinctly recognize this film for is lore. Saw 4 really adds and compounds to John Kramer's origin story through the vehicle of Jill Tuck's interrogations, all instigated by absolute total joy on screen Scott Patterson. That's right, Scott Patterson joins the team in this entry as no-nonsense, snarky Special Agent Strom, having to tolerate this woman's nonsense.
Do you know anything about the Chinese zodiac?
Oh, Jill, no.
Scott Patterson is there to have a good time, and I have a good time with him. And though I've never seen an episode of Gilmore Girls, nor do I intend to, I love that man.
I'm not buying it.
This is where things get difficult. You have to understand, I love this franchise. And here I am having to line my babies up and one in front of the other tell them which one I like more? Breaks my heart. And I'm doing it for you. So the least you can do is leave a like. Number 6, SawX. The first Saw film since 2010 to take place in the original canon of the franchise, remember Jigsaw doesn't count, and a welcome return to form. A very simple spin-off story that takes one little line in Saw 6 and says, what if we made a movie out of that? And then it makes a movie out of it. The movie doesn't try to retcon or change anything from the original canon. In fact, SawX directly enhances lines from Saw 6 and Saw 3 specifically. Remember that Lynn Denlin scene where she's like, do you understand? And Jigsaw's like, all too well. SawX is a really great self-contained story that really anyone can enjoy. Longtime fans of the franchise, newer fans of the franchise, or people who just want to have a good time and watch a one-off story with some really grotesque, gruesome traps, but also some dramatic weight to it as well. And most importantly, another film where Tobin Bell's Jigsaw and Shawnee Smith's Amanda are front and center. When they had told me that they were going to give me another Saw film, and on top of that they were going to put Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith in this new Saw film, and it was going to be directed by Kevin Grader, done. In this twisted way, John and Amanda are really two lost souls that find each other. Those two and their relationship are the heart of the story. If I could get more movies of Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith just together, I'll give them to me, please. Give me Saw 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 of just that. I'll take it. Number 5, Saw 2. A follow-up to the original film, and as important in setting the tone and tropes of the franchise, the sequel offers us our first chance at really getting to know John Kramer, and really the first opportunity that we get to see Tobin Bell just eat up the fucking screen. Tobin Bell is a captivating lead, as iconic to his character as Robert Englund is to Freddy Krueger, or Kane Hodder to Jason Voorhees. The B plotline of the 8 strangers finding their way out of the labyrinthian home so decrepit you'd think little Edie was the caretaker dovetails perfectly into the final test and really offers a captivating 90-minute watch filled with suspense, memorable trap set pieces, multiple antagonists, and a very satisfying final twist that's still satisfying to watch even on rewatch. In the success of its execution is the reason we have a franchise at all. Number 4, Spiral from the Book of Saw. On rewatch of Spiral, I surprised myself with how much fun I was actually having with this movie. Chris Rock is an absolute treasure to watch, and he really comes alive in those undercover scenes. And that look, the look. And if Chris Rock is not enough of a draw for you, how about Sam Jackson? Because he's also in this movie, and he gives you exactly what you want from Sam Jackson in a Saw movie.
You want to play games, motherfucker?
gives it to you. The film is a self-contained spin-off story that draws inspiration from the Saw franchise, but really can stand on its own as a standalone film. Even people who aren't fans of the franchise can pick up and watch and enjoy. It also has the historical distinction of discussing police reform at a time in which that was the main topic of conversation worldwide. You get gruesome and creative traps. That finger trap, ugh, beautiful. It's a fun, well-made movie with a bumpin' score, and that theme by 21 Savage,
I'ma let 'em spin like a spiral.
is lit. Though I will say I can't with this Jigsaw's little dweeby ass voice. Hello, detective. I want to play a game.
Hello, detective. I want to play a game.
Now, I love me some dweebs, alright? But this ain't it. Coming in at number 3, the original Saw. The most independent cinema of the entire lot, Saw was never meant to develop into the exploitive horror franchise it became. Rather, it was meant to be a standalone thriller mystery in the vein of Seven or Silence of the Lambs. It is the breakout film that got James Wan and Leigh Whannell the careers in horror that they currently have. The film builds to its incredible final twist, dropping pieces of cryptic information as the story slowly unravels and the audience discovers the relationships and connections that each character has to each other, like a jigsaw puzzle would. Brilliant. It also stars some iconic actors: Monica Potter, Danny Glover, Cary Elwes, and some iconic line deliveries, like this scene of Cary Elwes portraying me in the mornings before I've had my breakfast.
Lawrence, calm down.
Now, before we move on to our top 2, I do want to make an honorable mention. Scream Queens. No, not that Scream Queens. Yeah, that Scream Queens. A reality competition show in which a group of aspiring actresses go through a series of acting and stunt challenges, being killed off one by one until the sole survivor wins a coveted role in an upcoming Saw film. The show was camp, the show was drama.
I am a better actor than you. We are queens, bitches.
Season 1 was especially unhinged.
I'm psycho.
But season 2 is also a really good watch. But I just wanted to make sure that it was mentioned because it has its place in the franchise and it is an overall part of the series' history. Scream Queens is definitely something that's worth watching and worth remembering. Number 2, Saw 6. The game comes full circle. Akin to Friday the 13th Part 6, Saw 6 is the quintessential entry of its franchise. Saw 6 has everything that you would expect from a Saw film. Creative and gruesome traps, soap opera, incompetent policing, flashbacks, and plenty more of that sweet Tobin Bell poetry. And also Francois Saget cameos. Saw 6 is the denouement of the series' long story arc. It starts out the gate running and it does not let up. The cat and mouse police procedural is exceptionally exciting, as the world seems to zero in on our lead antagonist as he tries to pull off one of the most intricate plots yet. Each and every trap is iconic, enhanced by some of the best score done by Charlie Clouser. Shout out to Charlie Clouser. And the plot continues to progress scene after scene, leading into a third act that is just reveal after reveal after reveal. As a fan of the franchise and as a follower of this story, you get a payoff that is just so satisfying. I remember being in that midnight screening and that when that final credit rolled, the crowd was electric. Truthfully, it ties for first place as my favorite film, but there are rules to ranking lists, and I need to abide by those rules. Coming in at number 1, my absolute favorite entry of the franchise, Saw 3. The most Greek tragedy, the most soap opera, the most melodrama of all Saw films. Saw 3 is the original finale to the first trilogy of films. It sets up storylines for future films, of course, but it is spiritually the series finale for original creators James Wan and Leigh Whannell, and the last entry that they penned together. The film is an exploration of loss and the fear of loss and how it affects relationships in different ways, the different methods in which people cope with the traumas of their past, and the lesson of not getting lost in these toxic, harmful cycles lest it lead to your ruin. It has some of the most creative and at times profound traps that the characters endure. The score elevates the emotion of each scene. It is also the first film to start to world build through the use of cameos and production design. The franchise continues to discover itself as it progresses, but the small attention to details that the production team puts into what you are seeing on screen really starts to materialize here. The movie also gives you some Lee Winnell mid-drift. Ooh! You can't beat it. Saw 3 has amazing performances. Obviously, Tobin Bell always delivers. Tobin Bell is going to continue to deliver at all times, but everybody is bringing it to this. Bahar Sumik, she does an amazing job as well. There's just so many iconic deliveries and so many great moments. When Shawnee Smith says, "You'd be surprised what tools can save a life." Come on. Come on. You have to understand, like, I can recite these movies as I watch them, line per line, but Saw 3, I can't help myself. When Amanda comes in and that third act, even with that gun, it is Lynn who holds your life in her hands. Fuck you. You gave her control over me? Fuck you! I can't help myself. Come on, Saw 3 is the best one. Saw 3 is the best one! Well, I hope you absolutely hated my ranking list. And if you didn't, well, that's okay too. How would you rank the Saw films? What are your favorite ones? What are your favorite lines? Who are your favorite characters? What are your favorite traps? I want to talk about these things. I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. So, you know, get up in there. Start doing your thing. And leave a like. If you enjoyed listening to me talk about something that I absolutely love, subscribe to the channel, because that's basically all I plan to do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I only have about 90 seconds to find out whether or not I have what it takes to survive. Thank you for watching, and remember, if it's Halloween, it must be Saw.
Hey! Could be worse. You want to switch?